Welcome to our first episode of Flock Talk, the ultimate jam band community podcast where the grooves are endless and the vibes are infectious. Join us, your hosts. I'm Nikki.
Kara.
Jess.
As we dive deep into the colorful world of jam band lifestyle, culture, and community that make this genre truly unique. In each episode, the Femme Flock,
That's us,
are bringing you insightful discussions about current trends, travel, fashion, arts, events, community interviews, and the social side of the scene. This month on the pod, we're taking a little time to introduce us, give you a little background on who we are and what we're going to be doing in the coming episodes. Grab your bubble guns, glitter, and best show fit and join us here on Flock Talk, where the people make the scenes sparkle. Hi everyone, I am Nikki. I just wanted to take a second to tell you a little bit about me and my background. I am just turned 50 years old this summer. I know, happens to the best of us. And I am from the Metro Detroit area, but I now live in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I have a 21-year-old daughter who's a little hippie chick. She comes to shows pretty often with me, so keep an eye out for her. I work at a very large telecommunications company for over 26 years now, and I will be retiring in 4 3/4 years, at which time I'll sell my home and go on tour. That's the plan. I love to sew and do crafts and garden and yoga, and that's usually where you find me if I'm not at a show. Found the Dead in 91 in college. One of my friends was a huge Deadhead, and that's all he would listen to. And we were way into like Beatles and Zeppelin and such, and listened to the Dead the first time and just friggin' loved it, loved everything about it. Went to my first show the following summer. That was the year somebody gave me a Fish 7/21/91 show, Arrowhead, and I fell in love, loved everything about it. Still hear the giant country horns every time I hear a song. Can't get rid of that sound. It's just what I first listened to. I saw my first show in 94 for Fish, and I saw many shows with Jerry, probably around 2025 in there. Saw about 47 Fish shows now. Not that I'm giving stats because those aren't really good ones to give out, but my favorite show of all time was Big Cypress, and that's for obvious reasons. That was amazing. I still remember that to this day, with the sun rising, Velvet Sea of Bodies. It was fantastic. I was introduced to Goose in fall of 19, and I watched some live streams, listened to the studio albums, got my hands on as many shows as I could through re-listen because there wasn't much out there. Then in March of 20, I saw them at the Intersection and I was hooked. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see another show until the following summer for Westville, and it was a relief, unlike anything else, to know that they were still just as good as I remembered them opening for Pigeons. I've been to hundreds of host shows, though. I've seen Mule, Dave, Green Sky, Billy, Michael Franny, Spearhead, Spafford, you name it. Lots of festivals. The first Lollapaloozas, the first Bonnaroos, Wakarusa. I went to a bunch of really good festivals. So I am well immersed in the jam scene. And I really count my blessings with the jam scene because it did lead me to my current partner and love of my life. And I would never change it for anything. It was Goose. It was all Goose. We watched our first live stream together from T's house. March 21st, maybe. Don't quote me on that. I love going to see any live music in any form at all. I go to Bell's a lot. We have a lot of really good venues in town. The State Theater. I do have proximity to Chicago and Detroit and Grand Rapids, so I'm very lucky that way too. I do totally believe that I am the person today because of the jam band scene and the friends that I made and the connections that I made and sharing the joy of this with everybody. And I want to share it with the world. I think that it is a beautiful, diverse culture, full of kindness and open-mindedness and love and diversity, as I just said. But I find it to be one of the most pleasing places to be. And you know the difference between when you go to that or go to a concert or a bar that's not a jam scene one. it's something we need to share. And it's more than just the shows. Now, we can talk about the shows all day long, but many of us don't have the background to kind of talk about that. And it's okay because it's still part of what we're talking about. But we're also covering a lot of other extremely beautiful aspects of our culture. So now that you've learned about me, I'm going to introduce you to my friend Jess.
Hey everyone, I'm Jess. I'm 27. I live in Brooklyn, but I'm originally from Connecticut. I just started grad school here in the city this fall. I like to say that my brand is tastefully chaotic. My motto in life is try anything twice. I love adventures, new experiences, people, traveling, and just living. I'm fairly new to the jam scene, but my love of music comes from the fact that I've been a dancer my whole life. I started doing ballet at age 2 or 3 and then went to a performing arts high school where I specialized in modern dance and choreography. Basically, my music taste is anything that I can dance to. I guess that brings me to how I came here. Goose was my introduction to the scene. To be quite honest, I had no idea what the fuck a jam band was. Massive thank you to whoever posted the So Ready music video in the Listen to This subreddit, spring 2021. It totally changed my life forever. I was immediately attracted to the colors and the animation and the funk in the music video. And honestly, I kind of thought the dudes were hot. So once I heard the song, I did not stop listening. I became kind of obsessive. And then when I was sick of So Ready, I finally started listening to everything else they had, but only on Spotify because I was a newbie and didn't know. But I still didn't know what a jam band was, although I did see that they had some pretty long songs. But since I didn't know what a jam band was, I really didn't put 2 and 2 together. Anyway, I did some Googling and realized they were playing a show about 10 minutes from my parents' house in a few weeks from then. It ended up being Westville. So I ended up going to night 2 of the run. Didn't know you were supposed to go to both, but we learned. And I just happened to run into one of my best friends from college at the show. She's hard to miss. Tall, bleach blonde girl. Spotted her right in front of me, and we started chatting, and she had told me it was her 7th or 8th show at that point. She had a whole crew she would go with, you know the drill. And I had so much fun at the show, I ended up just joining her crew, and she was really the beginning of my jam education. One of the best parts about New York City is the access to all the great music that comes through. So I've been very lucky the last couple of years since I discovered the music and the scene, just to have seen so many people and bands since I've been here. Y'all are gonna have to bear with me though, because I'm still a newbie. I definitely have some hot takes, but yeah, it's gonna be fine. Anyway, we'll get into how we all met later, but long story short, the last part of my journey here is during the March Cap Run, back in March of this year. I met my boyfriend waiting outside of the theater, looking for tickets to go in, and we ended up chatting, and he ended up introducing me to my lovely co-hosts. Okay, I think that's enough for now. All right, Kara, you're up.
Hi, I'm Kara, and I'm a mid-30s dog mom to Brooklyn the Corgi and a lifelong music fan. I currently reside in New York City, but I have roots in Florida and Colorado. I moved to New York City about 8 years ago from Florida. I've been involved in some sort of music scene for as long as I can remember, but really started getting into festivals and specific scenes as I got older. Because, I can afford it now. It's not a cheap hobby to have, and I was pretty poor growing up. But when I was younger, I would save up a lot of money once I got a job in high school to go see concerts. I think the one that sticks out to me was buying Tool concert tickets when I had just turned 18, I think. And, seeing Tool for the first time live in a big stadium was incredible, of course. And I had saved up a lot of money to do that. Throughout my 20s, I started getting jobs that paid better. So as I got a little bit older, I was able to start going to bigger festivals. I started going to Bonnaroo. I've been to Firefly. And part of the experience there for me that was so special was always the community. The music scene to me is more than just the music. Of course, that is a huge part of it. But the scene and the people and, seeing people be their true selves. not everybody gets it, and I think that's something really special. And I consider myself a little bit of a late bloomer to the jam scene because when I was younger, I would get kind of bored with the jams or I didn't really fully understand it. I was exposed to the Dead as a kid. My mom was a hippie, I would say. Obviously, when I was older, she wasn't so hippie-like, but when she was younger, she went to Woodstock. She hung out with the Grateful Dead at some times, and she even, my mom's friends with Santana. She ran away from home to go to Woodstock. She exposed me to some of that lifestyle as I got older. So my exposure to the jam scene didn't really happen until 2021 when I started discovering the Bonnaroo lineup that year. I knew a lot of the bands, but I'm always one of those people that'll dig into bands that I had never heard of or maybe somebody recommended to me. And Goose happened to be that band for 2021. A good friend of mine now who told me that I should listen to Goose. He's very much into jam, and I was like, oh, never. I will never listen to jam music. It's kind of annoying. I can't stand it. But he sent me some songs anyway, and of course I put them on. And one of those songs was So Ready, and I was like, okay, this is a bop. This is incredible. And so I decided to give them a little bit of a deeper dive. When Bonnaroo canceled that year, I ended up buying tickets at Terminal 5 Night 2 because I had been really wanting to see Goose play. So I went to the concert and just had my mind totally blown. That was the night of the special third set. I had no idea what was happening the entire time. I was just kind of so enmeshed in it. I didn't even hear them say this third set. And then at set break, everybody was like, it's a third set. It's so great. It's awesome. And they totally blew it out of the water. It was just amazing. I left and just shocked about what I had just experienced. So fast forward, I have been to Goosefest will be my 32nd, 33rd shows. This has opened up the doors for me to go see more jam music. I did my first Fish shows over the summer at MSG. I did 4 nights, and that's where I created my very viral bad take set lists is what I call them, where I basically go into a show blind and create a set list while the show is going, and I make up all the song names because I don't know them. I still don't know Fish, so you'll be seeing these again at Fish New Year's and any other jam shows I go to. That I feel inspired to do this with. It's, I won't do it for all shows, but I do have a lot of fun doing it, so they will continue. And now back to Niki to get us started in the conversation about how we met and why we're starting this podcast.
Okay, so let's start with how we met.
Yeah, wow. So we can thank the internet for our introduction. The three of us, we met because of Twitter. Goose announced their Asbury Park shows probably last February, I feel like, February 2023-ish or so. Yeah. We started talking about, I think I made a tweet basically saying, hey, Asbury Park is hella expensive, y'all. Let's, who wants to get a Airbnb? And Niki, as her wonderful self, jumped on it and was like, well, I'm already talking to people and looking into places. Let's get this started. So fast forward a few months, in April, I went to the Salt Shed shows in Chicago, and that's where Niki and I met in person for the first time, and we hung out.
Which was your birthday, by the way?
It was my birthday. It was my birthday, Goose, and it was the worst day ever, but still made it great because of Goose.
Goose always finds a way.
Goose, everything works out with Goose, right?
That's everything works out with Goose. Right on.
Yeah, so we ended up meeting in April. Kind of honed in on a lot of the plans at that point. And slowly and surely, we had more people join us in the Big Goose Twitter house. And that's how we met Jess.
Yeah, I just showed up as a +1.
We had to prod that boy to tell us who the plus one was, though. He wasn't giving it up right away.
And I had to prod him for who you all were. I put in some faith. He was like, we're staying with a bunch of internet strangers. We're just going. And I was like, great. What do we know about them? And he was like, I don't know any of their first names. I only know their Twitter handles. It's going to be fine. And we showed up and it was more than fine. It was awesome.
Absolutely. We got along instantly. That's what was the good thing about that whole house exposure is that we all just immediately got along so well.
It was good vibes, that whole house. Definitely changed a lot in our goose story here.
Absolutely. And that's how we ended up where we are.
Yeah.
Because how many times have we ran into each other at other shows now?
Well, we plan it now.
We were at Fish.
Yep.
We were at Fish.
We're all at Fish.
We were all at Fish, but
SPAC.
Jess and I have been to Disco Biscuits. We've been to
Daniel Donato,
Andy Frasco.
Oh yeah, we do shows.
Yeah, that's the benefit of us being in the same city, though.
Yeah.
I miss you, Niki.
Super jelly.
Then we have a couple shows coming up. We're obviously all doing Gooseness together. And Fish New Year's.
Yes.
Whoop whoop.
And Niki, are you coming in for the Arevalo shows in February?
I am not, unfortunately.
Sad.
I know I'm not rich and I can't use all my time in the first 3 months of the year, unfortunately. I gotta spread that out. I gotta spread it out.
They'll be streamed though, so you can join us.
Yeah, I'll be there in spirit and I'll be watching you guys from my couch.
Yeah,
I love it. Look out for glitter.
Yes, we'll have glitter everywhere. It will be
bubble
everywhere.
guns. I want to see the bubble guns. Don't let me
I
down.
need to get one. That's next on my list. I need a bubble gun. We'll get there. That is another segment for another time.
The best bubble guns you can get.
Bubble guns are part of me.
I have opinions.
She gave me one for my birthday at the salt shed.
Yeah.
And now I always have a bubble gun because of Niki.
That's how I spotted Niki at Fish over the summer. She was below me. I saw some bubbles coming up and I looked down.
Amazing.
It was me.
It was you.
That's awesome. I love it.
I knew it.
I love them. Bubbles. They're the best. They do so much good stuff. I mean, let alone being pretty to look at.
And they're not annoying. Kind of like some other things that people have can be kind of annoying. This one's hard.
Yeah. I get many people who stop me and say, "Oh my God, thank you for the bubbles. Thank you, thank you." And many that are just looking at me funny, especially the dudes in front of me. It's usually an old guy getting popped in the head with bubbles all night. And I don't say anything. I'm like, you're at a show, man. It's part of the whole experience.
So I'm just going to call out how cool it is that we're probably the only podcast on the internet that has a whole segment dedicated to bubble guns.
It's not just bubble guns. It's all flock fashion. I'm so intrigued by so many of these things. There was just a moment last summer where everyone was growing sprouts. And like
all those little sprout clips.
I want to find out where those came from and how they became a popular fashion icon thing because I am curious. Where did they come from? I need to know.
If you made the sprouts, contact us. Let us know. We need to know where they came from and where they originated from because I've seen so many people with the sprouts since.
And there's so many fun things that we have a whole segment planned about this. But I went to Peach Fest over the summer and I bought fuzzy glitter ears from some woman. I will dig up when we talk about this segment who she was. I have her business card. And they're so fun.
Yeah, and I get her some business.
Oh yeah. They were so fun. It took me an hour to figure out which ones I wanted to buy because she had so many options. But and then I bought two because it's never enough.
Why
but
not?
I love them. And there's just so many fun things for shows to make it interesting. When you see all the old men, no offense, old men, we love you, but you're all kind of boring. We're in your sandals, your hiking boots, your cargo shorts, your band t-shirt. I want something interesting to look at. So
maybe our podcast will convince them to wear glitter.
Yeah, why not?
It doesn't even have to be glitter, but I would like that personally.
I would too. I think that would be awesome if we got more people to wear glitter and bring bubble guns to shows. Then we have done our job. We've done our job. We're doing the Lord's work here.
It's the only reason we made a podcast.
Exactly. Spread the good word of bubbles and glitter.
And there's easy ways to do glitter without getting it everywhere.
Is there?
Well, I don't do full on glitter. I do the face jewels because those don't get everywhere.
But what's the fun of putting glitter on if you don't get it everywhere? I
It
want
makes
somebody to walk past me
tomorrow.
and be like, where'd that come from?
My
It
favorite
makes
my
tomorrow
favorite
more
part
fun.
is when like you hug someone and then you don't like you both don't realize how much glitter is on your body and then you separate and then you just see them like covered in your glitter and you're just like, sorry, not
Oops.
sorry, and you just walk away. I love that.
I have a fun story about glitter. I went to see Fish at Alpine Valley in 19 August, the year they did like super long Ruby Waves. And I was going, we went as a big group, and then we took a car from the hotel to the show because Alpine Valley's in the middle of freaking cow pastures and cornfields, literally. And we were opening up the back of these people's Jeep that I'd just met. They were friends of friends, and I'd never met them before. And they had this really nice Jeep Grand Cherokee, and I had a bag of glitter that I was like putting on people. When I put a little lotion on them, I put glitter on them, and I picked up the bag of glitter in the back, and it spilled everywhere in their black Jeep, and the whole back of their Jeep carpeting, everything just had this really fine powder glitter in it.
They
I'm like,
still
oh
have that.
gosh, I'm sorry, you're gonna be seeing that for a long time.
I'm willing to bet that there is still glitter in the
Probably
car.
still have it on there, but their dogs go roll around in the car and come back in the house and have glitter on them. So I, it's how I left my mark.
I love it. I feel like we should now take this time. We've kind of touched on it a little bit, but to talk about why we made this podcast, what our goal is here, some of the things we're going to be talking about. Yeah, we feel like
I agree.
there's been a lot of podcasts about jam bands, most of which touch heavily on the music. We think that's fairly well covered already. But we really were looking for a space to talk about this community, like how we met, all the things community's brought to us. Community is very vibrant. All of you are different and interesting and amazing people doing really cool things in your own fields, not just at work, but charities, involvements that you all have. Just some really cool people that we keep meeting at shows, and Twitter's done a little bit of bringing us together, but we wanted to do some more. That community's kind of started to fall off a bit with the changes in Twitter, and we just feel a bit fragmented, and we wanted to find like a nice fun space to highlight some of these cool people and things that are happening amongst us, plus a woman's perspective. There's a lot of male voices in the jam scene, and especially like me being a little girl, I go to these shows and I look around and I feel like I'm alone sometimes. And so it's been really awesome to meet Niki, Kara, and have like female friends to go hang out with and enjoy the shows with and wear cool outfits and dress up in glitter. And it's like Halloween every week when we go to shows in like the best way. But really it's just like a lifestyle and access to things that we love. Like our community here, it's the goal is highlighting you all. And so just some of the things we're planning on talking about while we have this podcast and this voice platform to use. It's just like show insights, rumors, upcoming events, maybe some hot tea in the community. As we've touched on before, fashion, flock fashion, social trends, just things we're seeing. But additionally, we want to hear new perspectives from the community. We don't always get to have a voice. We want to hear from people who don't feel like their voice is always heard, and people who have something to say that doesn't usually get to get their voice out there. Additionally, we're going to be talking about some travel and safety tips, frugal flocking, how to get to a show and save some money, because there's a lot of shows out there and it's hard to dedicate your entire paycheck to goose or fish or outfits.
Or all of it.
Cheap. Yeah.
And
it will not
and all of
involve OnlyFans, we promise.
For now.
For now.
It might involve a podcast though.
If it gets me there.
Did I miss anything? I feel like that's why we're here though, is really bringing the community together, creating some more positivity in the space, bringing some voices that haven't been heard, maybe are marginalized, maybe are just minorities in the scene, and giving way to some fun.
And don't forget about our generational span that we have here. I've been around since the early 90s, seeing the Dead and Fish and everybody else in between. Old head here, we got the medium head up there, and we got the baby head down there. And it's a wonderful perspective. We're not just zoning in on just the 20-year-olds or just the 30-year-olds. We've got got a broad span to cover all opinions and outlooks and perspectives. So I think that's a fair way to look at our lifestyle and our scene, different from what most people have been doing.
Diversity.
Absolutely.
The more diverse, the more intersectional, the better. We want to hear from you.
This pod is made by women for everyone. We wouldn't be here without you, and we want to hear from you all. Please go to our website, Guest Fill-In Form, DM us on Twitter or Instagram, and let us know what you're up to. We are planning segments to cover it all. Are you starting a new fashion line? Volunteering with a community? Or was there something in the jam scene that changed your life? Come tell us about it. We wouldn't be doing our job if we didn't ask you to follow us everywhere and rate us on your favorite podcast app. And if you're curious about what we look like, check out our socials. Thanks for listening and supporting us. We will be back in January to recap the December shenanigans. See y'all at Goosemas and Fish New Year's. Bye now.